Let me tell you something. Going to prison ain't what breaks a man. It's coming home and finding out the woman you threw your whole damn life on the line for was too busy screwing around to even write you a damn letter. I ain't no saint, but I know what loyalty is. And apparently she don't. Alright, here's the backstory so y'all ain't jumping in blind. I'm 42. Been married to my wife, Kayla, for 10 years. We got a 9-year-old son, Mason, who's my whole damn world. I used to be a mechanic, work 6 days a week, hands always cut up, smelling like oil and metal, but I loved it. Provided for my family best I could. Kayla used to work at a little real estate office, part-time receptionist gig, but quit after Mason was born. I never minded being the sole breadwinner. That was the deal, far as I saw it. Things were good in the beginning. Not perfect, but what is? Kayla's always been a bit high maintenance. Loves her nails, her wine nights with the girls, that whole hot suburban mom vibe, but I was proud of her. I liked showing her off. She was fiery, sharp-tongued, sometimes a little mean when she drank, but I figured that was just part of the package. Then, 2 years ago, everything flipped on its damn head. We were out one night, me and her, grabbing a burger and a few drinks at this dive bar we used to love. Some drunk asshole got too handsy with her, and next thing I know, I'm seeing red. I won't get into the messy parts, but I ended up doing 2 years for aggravated assault. Yeah. 2 years. Prison food, concrete beds, and zero privacy, all because I lost control trying to protect my wife. I figured she'd wait for me, right? We had a life together. A kid. I pictured her crying over my letters, missing me, counting the days till I came home. She wasn't. Kayla wrote to me 3 times in those 2 years. 3 damn times. One of them was just to say the Wi-Fi was acting up. She never came to visit. Always had some excuse, Mason's school, her job, a migraine, car trouble. You name it, she had it. But I didn't question it too much then. I thought maybe prison made me paranoid. Plus, she always sounded sweet on the phone. Said she missed me. Said Mason missed me. Said she couldn't wait to have her man back home. When I finally walked out that gate, breathing free air again, I had a suitcase full of cheap sweats, calloused knuckles, and a heart stupid enough to still be in love with her. And at first, she was weird. Kayla picked me up in some newer SUV I didn't recognize. Said it was a lease she got for Mason's soccer. Her hair was longer, her nails more expensive. She had that glow to her, you know, that look when someone's getting attention. I figured she was just excited to have me back. She talked a lot. Nervous chatter. About neighbors, her yoga class, some mom group she joined, how Mason had really blossomed the past year. Something felt off, but I chalked it up to prison brain. You come back, everything feels off. That first night, she didn't even want to hook up. Said she was tired, emotionally overwhelmed. The second night, she fell asleep on the couch. Third night, she said she had cramps. I ain't stupid, I started keeping track. One day, I found a new cologne in the bathroom. I don't wear cologne, never have. She said it was a sample from the mall, that she liked the smell and used it to spray the bathroom. Who the hell sprays cologne in a bathroom? Then there was her phone. That thing was glued to her like a damn limb. She kept it face down all the time. Took it with her even to pee. And she had a second Instagram account. Just for close friends. Funny thing is, I wasn't on it. Still, I didn't want to believe it. Not yet. I was trying to keep it together. For Mason, for my sanity, for the life I thought we still had. But my gut was screaming louder than a siren in a tornado. Things didn't sit right. I tried to shake it, I really did. Kept telling myself I was just rusty, out of sync from prison. You lose track of the world in there. 2 years gone while everyone else keeps marching forward. I didn't want to believe the woman I'd taken charges for was out here playing me for a fool. But every day, it got harder to ignore. The small things started piling up. Little red flags flapping like crazy in my face. Kayla had started dressing different. tighter jeans, lower tops. Not that I'm some old-school prude, I've always liked when she turned heads. But this felt performative. Like she wasn't dressing for herself, or for me. Just someone else. She'd laugh harder at her phone than at anything I said. Started doing her makeup just to go for a drive. One Saturday morning, I woke up and she was gone. No note, no text. Just her side of the bed cold and untouched. Mason was still asleep. I waited an hour, called her. She didn't answer. Texted back 2 hours later with some nonsense. Ran out to get breakfast stuff. Be back soon. She walked in 40 minutes later, Starbucks in hand, no groceries. When I asked her what happened to the breakfast stuff, she looked at me like I'd asked her to explain the theory of relativity. Oh, she said. They were out of what I needed. I just figured we could grab something later. She's never once in her life skipped a planned grocery run. She's one of those list makers. Has a whole app for it. That night I checked the car. Call me paranoid, but something was chewing at me like termites in the walls. I didn't find anything major. Just a half-empty water bottle in the back seat that wasn't hers, some cologne smell lingering near the passenger side. I almost convinced myself it was nothing. Maybe a friend. Maybe I'm losing it. I started doing more around the house, stuff she used to handle when I was away. Bill paying, mail, calling about school events. That's when I found out she hadn't been paying Mason's private tutor. Said she canceled it months ago, but I ran into the tutor at the grocery store, and she said she was still meeting him once a week. When I brought it up, Kayla looked me dead in the eye and said, "Well, I didn't want to stress you about money. It wasn't a big deal. Thing is, we weren't hurting for money. I'd stacked enough before prison, plus my brother helped us keep the lights on. No reason she'd need to lie about something like that, unless she was hiding where the money really went. And Mason, man, that kid doesn't lie well. He'd say something innocent. Mommy's friend came by today, or we went to the movies with someone from yoga. And I'd ask follow-up questions just to watch him squirm. He didn't want to lie to me. I could see it. But someone had clearly told him to. One night I asked him who Mommy's friend was, the one with the black truck. He paused, chewing his lip. He's just a helper. A helper, huh? He nodded. He fixes stuff. That evening, Kayla told me not to interrogate our son. Said it was creepy. Creepy. Her words. I nearly lost it right there, but I didn't. I stayed calm. I needed more than just half-truths and gut feelings. I needed clarity. So I started writing things down. Every excuse she gave. Every time she said she was going one place and ended up at another. I logged it all in a notebook I kept hidden in my toolbox. Her story about her job didn't check out either. She said she was working part-time at a new boutique in town, but every time I offered to pick her up, she'd say her shift was cancelled or someone else gave her a ride. One day I drove over there just to see if her car was out front. It wasn't. I went inside, asked the lady at the counter if Kayla was around. She blinked at me and said, "Who's Kayla?" I said, "She told me she worked here." The lady frowned. "No one by that name here." Maybe she meant another store? So now I'm sitting on a pile of lies with no straight answers. I'm not stupid. I know what this all points to. But something in me, call it pride, or maybe hope, still didn't want to say the word out loud. Cheating. I didn't want that to be real. I gave up everything for her. Did time for her. Imagined coming home and rebuilding something real. And now, I felt like a stranger in my own life. The woman I used to fall asleep next to was like some clone, same face, same voice, but none of the soul I remembered. Everything felt rehearsed. Like she was going through the motions, just waiting for me to get tired and leave on my own. But I wasn't gonna give her the satisfaction. No, I decided, I'd give her just enough rope to hang herself. All I had to do was wait. I waited. Every morning I'd wake up next to her and pretend I didn't see the cracks. Pretend I didn't know the truth was simmering just under the surface, waiting to boil over. I smiled when she brought me coffee. I kissed her cheek when she left the house, watched her taillights disappear while wondering which lie she was telling this time. I played the long game. She underestimated how quiet I could be when I wanted to. Probably figured I was still the hothead who got locked up for breaking some guy's face. She forgot I learned patience where it counted, inside a cage. When all you've got is time, you learn how to sit with rage and make it your roommate. I kept digging. Made a second set of keys to her SUV. Hid an old phone under her passenger seat with a tracker app. Checked her location from the garage like I was watching a weather report. One Tuesday afternoon, she told me she was going to visit her cousin in the next county. Cousin Jenny. I nodded, smiled, said, "Tell her I said hi." As soon as she pulled out the driveway, I opened the app. She drove straight across town. Not to Jenny's house. Nope. Right to that same condo complex with the little fountain out front and the busted gate code anyone could guess. So I drove there. Parked a block down. Walked up like I belonged. Saw her SUV right out front. And I waited. 15 minutes later, I saw him. Tall, broad-shouldered, beard trimmed neat. Looked like the type who plays golf with his sleeves rolled up and tips in 20s. Jason. They walked out together laughing, arm in arm, like a couple fresh off a honeymoon. She leaned into him, kissed his neck. My neck used to be hers. She kissed it like that once. I didn't confront them. Not yet. Just snapped a photo with my burner phone. Then another. Then one more, her hand on his chest, his hand low on her back. I went home before she did. She came in smiling like it was any other day, tossed her keys on the counter, said Jenny. Really needed the talk? Yeah? I said, biting into a cold slice of pizza. She doing all right? Oh, you know Jenny, always a mess. She still got that dog? Kayla paused just a hair too long. Yeah, of course. Funny, I said. Jenny's allergic to dogs. Her smile faded. What's with the third degree? I shrugged. Just making conversation. She walked off, muttering something about me being in a weird mood. I let her go. No fight. Not yet. That night I sat on the porch with a beer, looking at the stars I used to count through a wire mesh window. I didn't feel broken. I didn't even feel mad. I felt detached. Like I'd stepped out of the skin of a man who used to love her. Like I was watching someone else's life fall apart. But then I thought of Mason. This wasn't just about her screwing around. It was about dragging my boy through it. Lying to him. Using him as cover. I could take the betrayal, hell, I'd survived worse. But dragging our kid into her circus act? That was unforgivable. The next day, I called up a buddy of mine from before everything went sideways, Paulie. Works in repossessions, owns a few storage units out by the highway. Owes me a few favors. I asked if he could help me move a few things discreetly. He didn't ask questions. Just said, when and where? Over the next 2 days, I boxed up everything I wanted, tools, photo albums, my old records, stuff from my dad. I moved it all into one of Paulie's units. Changed all my passwords, locked down my accounts, and made a quiet trip to a lawyer downtown. Found a guy who didn't blink when I told him I needed a quick divorce and full custody petition. Told him about my charges, he already knew my case. Told him about Kayla's activities. He asked if I had proof. Oh, buddy, I said, pulling out my phone. I got a slideshow. I even made copies of the photos and printed out every lie she ever texted me. Every dollar that vanished. Every timestamp. I built a case like I was taking her to court in my soul. 2 nights later, I set the trap. Told her I wanted to cook dinner. Steak, mashed potatoes, her favorite wine. Candle on the table. Smooth jazz playing. She lit up like a kid on Christmas. Thought I was falling back in love or some dumb fairy tale mess. Over dinner, I was calm. Asked her about her work, her friends, even Jason. She laughed and said Jason was just someone she barely saw anymore. He was just a neighbor helping out. God, you're so suspicious lately. I sipped my wine. You ever lie to me? She smirked. Only about how good your chili is. We both laughed. I even raised my glass. Toasted. To second chances. After dessert, I slid the manila envelope across the table. You might want to open that before you go to sleep tonight. She frowned, opened it. The silence that followed was delicious. Photo after photo. Time logs. Her fake texts. A copy of the condo lease. Guess whose name was on it with Jason? A printed email she sent him about leaving me eventually. She didn't say a word for a solid minute. Then the waterworks started. It wasn't what it looks like. You say that, I said, leaning back. But it looks exactly like what it is. You were gone. I was alone. I didn't know if you were ever getting out. I got out, I said. And you had someone else in my house. In my bed. With my son in the next room. I'm sorry, she said, sniffling now. Please. We can work through this. Oh no, I said, grinning. We're way past that. Then I stood up, dropped a set of papers in front of her. Here's the divorce. And the custody petition. Mason's staying with me. I've got character references, proof of your cheating, and recordings. The works. You're not taking my son, she screamed, face red now. You already gave him away, I said. You just didn't notice. She lunged at me, but I stepped back. Cool as a breeze. Try to touch me again and I'll call the cops. You know I'm not afraid of courtrooms. She was still screaming when I walked out that night, got in my truck, and drove to the small apartment I'd already set up across town. Mason would join me in a few days. My lawyer said we had a strong shot. That was 2 months ago. Now, Kayla's back living with her mom. Jason dipped out not long after. Guess he didn't sign up for court battles and alimony threats. I hear she's working nights at a call center, barely keeping it together. Me? I sleep just fine. Mason's doing better in school. We grill on weekends. He stopped asking about Mommy's friends. Doesn't cry at night anymore. And I don't look over my shoulder when I check my phone. Funny thing is, people think revenge is about getting even. But the best kind? The kind that really sings? It's just walking away with your dignity while they're stuck picking up the pieces of the mess they made. So here's my advice. If you ever go to prison for someone, make damn sure they're worth it. And if they ain't, let 'em burn themselves down. You just make sure you're not holding the match.